So, good evening. Welcome once again. I'm Regina Waiganjo. I have done MSc in botany. I did it in JQuat. I'm a research consultant. I do research in different fields, especially on rangeland management. But it's usually in the arid and semi-arid regions of Kenya. I'm also a part-time lecturer at JQuat. And also I'm aspiring to do a PhD. I'm writing a concept note. So I've done some publication, and it was a combined or a group publication. I've also done individual one. So I think this one will be more of an interaction. I hope also to learn from every one of us. So welcome to today's question and answer session. So I've seen that majority of the people, there are people who are asking about how to get the funding for scholarships, funding for, like, maybe you want a grant, scholarships, how we can apply that. So it will be open. And we are free to look at that. We'll also be looking at other issues concerning the group in terms of, we'll also share in our group, the publishing journal club group, whereby we are to look at the journal articles or those people who have articles that we can use to critique or to look at it in future. Thank you. So the floor is open. Welcome. Yes. So good evening. Okay, there is a question. This one is supposed to be open discussion on things to do with publication. I want to share a document that I want us to look at some of the things that we would look at. People can ask questions, then we can address the questions in terms of the publications, all the questions relating to publishing, or developing a publication or a manuscript. So the questions are the ones that we wanted to have an open discussion, then we can look at those questions. Thank you. Let's have it like, what are some of the challenges that we are facing as we are writing the articles for publications, and we can share, or maybe even as we are writing the papers for the papers, as we are preparing manuscripts, as we are preparing the yes, so challenges that people are facing when writing publications. Maybe I can start. My case was I was not able to share the screen. In the meantime, we can first of all have an open discussion. Then I can share some of the things that I wanted us to look at. So questions like when we are preparing the paper, or when I was I'm preparing a past some work I had done previously. So, and my challenge, the challenge that I've been having is now getting to include recent literature on that work, so that it can be up to date. So maybe we can help each other on that. I know there's so many issues. Yes, like I can see those people who are in the business journal articles, they're saying there are too many formatting types by various journals, and also editing the document and time pressure in terms of the graduation versus time it takes to get an article accepted. Yes. So maybe, okay, for me, I'm also maybe the best thing about the 2-minute formatting types. Not unless we choose, maybe when you narrow down to maybe the journal article that one is looking at, then you can, or choosing a journal first. So my thinking is you first of all choose a journal that you are going to publish in or at, and then from the journal, then you are able to follow some of their procedures. I know it's a challenge, but maybe you can even put on the chat, or you can raise your hand, we can look at that. Also, you find that even majority of the people, either you are working and also you want to graduate, and also you want, in most of the universities, it's a requirement for you, especially for the masters and the PhD. You have to publish a paper before graduating. So the pressure is there. Yes, but I think also you want to graduate on time, so we have to, sometimes you have to create some, you have to create time, especially when you're working, because you're working on the thesis and also you're working on the manuscript. So if maybe when you have the right format, you know that generally we have the general overview whereby, or the structure of writing an article, the general structure in terms of from the title, coming up with a good title, which should be brief and should be precise, and have it portrays the whole document, or what you're going to talk about, or what your work is all about. Then you look at the abstract, which is also which is a summary of your work, or a summary of, it has a brief introduction, it has the materials and the methods, the justification, the results, like in one sentence, in the discussion. Then you go to the introduction, your results, where you present the introduction, you give a background information of your whole document. Like you have part of the literature review, part of what you has been done previously, and you also look at what is recent, like the recent literature. You give a statement of your problem and you justify. Then you come to materials and methods, or the methodology, where we are talking about now how you collected the data, the tools, the techniques that you used. You talk about the data analysis, and then you come to the results. The results, you portray your results as they are, or you give your results as they are. Then the discussion, you describe or you discuss the results with justification from people who have done similar work in that area. Then you write the conclusion from your research or from the literature. Have you achieved your objective? If you are testing the hypothesis, have you if you are using the null hypothesis, or have you achieved the, or do you accept or reject the null hypothesis? Then the recommendations you can recommend maybe what can be done in addition to, or for you can describe further research in that field, or maybe what you are not able to research within that given time. So somebody to help us, how do you go about, you can see the people from the business areas, they are talking about too many formatting types. Somebody can guide us on maybe how we can go about that. You can raise your hand or you can just comment. You just you unmute and then you can help us. You can also write more of the challenge, some of the other challenges that we do face when we are writing the journal articles. Abigail, maybe you can help us. You can unmute and tell us, how do we go about, especially these too many formatting types in different journals? Anybody else? So we also have the editing of the document. I think nowadays we also have some of the tools that help us to like when you are editing these articles, where you want to avoid the plagiarism, when you want to, you can, even the reference managers like the Mendeley, they can help you to get the recent, or you are able to use the, or to include all your references to help you do the work. Dr. Wambui, maybe I don't know whether you have seen the question that had been raised on some of the challenges that people are facing when they are writing the journal articles.
I didn't quite see the question, so I tried to answer it on the chat. Basically, every journal will want their own format. And what I would do is, before I start, I just set the formats on my laptop and then start writing after the formatting has been set. And so the computer will help me do the checks as I go along. Because you can't go and you can't change the journal format. You have to conform. I'm not sure what the question was.
I've shared the questions. Somebody had talked about how to some of the challenges, or some of the challenges that when you are writing the journal articles was too many formatting types by various journals. Editing the document was another challenge, and also the time pressure between the you are preparing the thesis, and also you are preparing the manuscripts for the publications. So those were some of the challenges that was raised.
Then I think my answer on the chat is appropriate.
Yes. Well, for the Mendeley, okay, Mendeley is it's a reference. It helps in arranging or making sure that you whatever the document or the literature that you have cited, or the documents that you've uploaded or you have, they arrange those documents or those research or the literature that you have, or maybe the papers, the journals, the books that you have researched on. You can use it to help you arrange. Although I understand there are so many other tools like the EndNotes and other reference managers, depending on maybe the university. And maybe in the course of time, we'll also be looking at some of those and how to use those reference managers, how to use those tools that will help us look at things like maybe the grammar, like the Grammarly. It helps us look at, or it helps you to look at your paper or your manuscript or your document, and like maybe the spelling mistake, you are able to work on that. Also, we have the Tunitin. Some of these, I may not be very conversant with the details, but maybe we can share about them later. And we can look at, we can even have, we can maybe propose that in future we can also have some of these tools explained to us in our groups, or even in the Africana Journal Club, so that we are able to look at them in details. So I was saying, in my case, I also have that challenge where you want to use the recent literature to incorporate into some work you have done in the past. Maybe somebody can help us how to go about that. Like you did a paper or you did some work in 2020 or in the past years, but you want to update it, or you want to write an article based on that, but you want to use the recent literature to back your work. Yes, Geoffrey, maybe you can help us on that. How do we go about that? Or somebody else from the group? Dennis, if you can hear us, maybe you can help us on that, or maybe I can type it so that we can look at that. So you said mostly, first of all, you have to, the best way is to choose the journal where you are going to publish your work. Then from there, you are able to look at the requirements, and then you are able to write in accordance to their format. That way it will be easier, because and I think there's although I've forgotten, there's a way you are able to choose or to type, and you're able to get a journal, or to, maybe you can use your abstract. Maybe we can share that later. You can use your abstract or the title of your manuscript to help you research on the fields that's or the journals that where you can publish your work. Then there's a question on, although now this one is far from the publication, how to get the scholarships and scholarship applications, and also maybe the grants. Maybe I can write them down. Grant applications, scholarship applications, fundings. How to go about that. What I know, I saw this was a question that was raised, and also maybe we can also have several people who can maybe help us on this. For the scholarships, I think these ones, they are more of those where you are fully funded to do a scholarship. What I've seen, most of the institutions, they have a topic or they have a field where they post the maybe the PhD or the master's applications, scholarships that they have in their institutions, and then they post the applications and the deadlines. So if one fits in those, then one can apply, like different institutions, both locally and internationally. Like we have the DAD, we have like in Kenya, we have ISIPE, we have ICRA. Sometimes they may post them in different social medias. Like you may find them in several several WhatsApp groups, and then people do share, and then you are able to look at that, or you are able to get the grant, or you can see the call, and then you can apply. For the grant, maybe there are some scholarships like the ones that pays the tuition fee. It could be maybe a local or international, or maybe international, like maybe a scholarship. Maybe you are based in Kenya, but we want to study in South Africa or in Nigeria or in another country, or the body that is offering the scholarship, they have the scholarships like the host is the one to determine which university you'll be hosted. Like for the ISIPE, I think they are more based on insect physiology. So they may have a collaboration where part of your research work will be done at the ISIPE or the ICRAF or any other NGO, or maybe the NGO offering the scholarship, and then they give you maybe a host university where you'll be registered for your MSc or for your PhD. A grant may be different. You may have a project, or maybe you are registered and maybe you have paid your school fees, or maybe you had a partial scholarship whereby the scholarship was catering for the tuition fee. But then you need to, maybe you have a field work, maybe you are doing medicine, and maybe you are doing it far from the university. You'll need to travel, you'll need to collect the samples, you'll need to do the lab work, you'll need the reagents and everything else that is required. So in your proposal, you have the budget. So you may apply for grants. And some of these grants, they only cater for the research work. They don't cater for, they are purely for field work. Like if you are doing research in areas where, or in fields where we have like maybe the the breeding, the plant breeding or the plant pollination areas where you have to plant the crop or you have to buy the plant. Maybe you need a greenhouse. So all those details you may require to a grant on top of maybe the partial scholarship, or maybe even the scholarship that you got outside the country is only for the tuition fee. So for the grant scholarships, these ones you may be assisted by your supervisor or maybe the mentor, or maybe there are those grants that are usually open, but maybe they are specific in nature in terms of maybe they are in the STEM, or they want people who are doing research in science and maths and engineering and those technological areas. If you are in that area, and maybe you can apply for the grant, or maybe it's a grant that is related to those areas, or a grant that is related to social sciences or other areas, and it fits, so you apply for that grant application. Then somebody had asked about sampling. So if there's somebody else who have anybody who can add on to the scholarships and the grant applications and funding. You can raise your hand or you can comment on the chat box. So then there was somebody who has asked about sampling procedures. So when you're, so this one is mostly when you are doing your research work, or when you have or when you are writing the proposal, and then you have on your methodology you have to talk about your sampling process or sampling procedure, or how to get your sample size, or how to do your research, or how you are going to carry out your research or to collect your data. So sampling procedures, they are different, or the processes or how to do the sampling. A sample is a subset of the whole population. So it's like when we are talking about, maybe let's say you want to do a survey, or you want to carry out, or you want to do a study on maybe the infection, or maybe the malaria outbreak in a region like in maybe the western sides of our country, or in Nyanza region. And so you look at the whole population of that county, or maybe that sub-county, maybe it has like 100,000 people. So you cannot do your study with 100,000 people. So the 100,000 or maybe the 10,000 people is a whole population. So the sample is a subset, or it's a small subset of the population, and it has to be a representative of the whole population. For instance, you can use different methods. We have what we call probability sampling and non-probability. For the probability sampling, mostly So there are different ways, but this one, you may use simple random method or systematic. Simple random method, you may pick your sample randomly, but in a way that it will be a representative of the whole population. Systematic, you may consider maybe some areas, like within the county, you may decide in a certain sub-county, I'll use maybe several, or I'll use 1, 2, 3. So you may decide depending on that. Maybe later on we can have a look at those ones in details. Then we have other different methods. The non-probability methods, these ones, they may not have like a certain direction, but there are also different ways. But the person who is carrying out the researcher is the one to determine the sample or the method that he'll use. He can use what we call, like one of those methods is what we call purposive or purpose sampling method, whereby the investigator or the researcher is the one to decide on you purpose, or you decide that within Nyanza province, I'll use Migori, or within Nairobi County, for instance, if you are carrying out in Nairobi County, I'll use maybe a certain word, for instance, maybe because of one reason or another, or because it is prone to such areas, or maybe there are issues that we that are specifically, or maybe it's the one that is more prone to the malaria, or maybe you have you have done some preliminary survey or preliminary data, or what we call pilot study, and you have been able to see those issues, and you're able to look at that. So that's it, not unless maybe there's anybody else with a question. Maybe before we even leave, I had, these were some of the issues that I wanted us to look at. So we want people who have maybe published a paper, or maybe if you have a paper that you're working on, you can share it, then we'll look at them, and then we can pick one that we'll use for the April, towards the end of this month, the meeting that we usually have on the last day of the month, the last Saturday of the month, for the discussion. We can have that. And I want 5 volunteers who will do that. Anybody with a paper, maybe you can raise your hand and we can look at that. Those people who have some papers that they are working on, people have not talked today, so I'll call out some people to tell us. Eunice, you can unmute. Eunice, do you have a paper that we can have a look at? Abigail, Miria, Elizabeth, Bilha. Some people have left, but they'll join us. So we'll share, even maybe after this, we'll share. You can share even in our groups, the papers or papers that you have for review in our April meeting. Then we'll volunteer those people who will facilitate. One person, the paper that we shall agree to work on, one person will read and present the paper, and then the other 4 or 5, so out of the 6, one will read and present the paper, and then the others will offer the discussion and critique. So I hope most of us, we were able to join yesterday's meeting where we have to look at how to critique a paper. And maybe if you have not been able to, you can look at the main group WhatsApp, and you'll be able to learn more or to get the papers on that, or the documents that were shared on that. So in the meantime, if you would like to join the Africana Journal Club, please fill the form that I had shared. And also, we'll also look at, you can give the feedback. I'll share the feedback form. So you can fill it before we log out. It's okay, Dennis. It's okay. I'll share with you my contacts. Then we can. I'll share with you those contact details. So, any other question? So, members, thank you for your participation. Thank you. So I've shared those who have, maybe if you are not in the Africana Journal Club, you are welcome to join us. We usually meet, we get different, there are several talks that are presented, different webinars, different trainings. So you are welcome to join us, and you'll learn more. So anybody with a question or a comment or a question on publication? Abigail, let me reshare as I can see somebody is asking how to join the Africana Journal Club. Let me share the link. And also kindly fill this one is the membership registration. You can click the link, you'll be able to join the Africana Journal Club. Then maybe there are some who had logged out. I'll share the feedback form. So you can fill in the feedback form before we log out. We'll share the details on, I'll ask about, maybe we can look at those tools maybe later on. We can suggest it even in our main group, the Africana Journal Club, whereby we can have a facilitator who can guide on those tools. Mainly, it is a detailed, it's a tool that can take maybe like 1 hour to explain it, and also to help us look at how to use it or how to even install it and use it. And I also think that if you go to the Ada Africa website, they have several YouTube links that we have some of the webinars that have been presented previously in previous years, and we'll be able to look at that. Any other question? And also, I think that it's also good, even when we are writing the paper or the manuscript, or even when we are applying for the grants, and also most of those things, like even the editing, you can edit and you can also share with a colleague or with somebody in the field, because let me reshare. I had shared previously. Let me share again. So you can have, you can share with people, maybe researchers. The work that you've done, you may find that you may have overlooked something, but when you share with somebody different, maybe even in a different field, you learn, or they can help you correct your document. So it is good to share. It's good to have a look at those details, or you look for somebody who can read the document for you. You can send it to a friend, a colleague. Maybe you are in the sciences, and you can send to even somebody in the social science, and they can help you edit, or maybe a friend, or maybe a colleague, or a researcher, or even a lecturer who can read the document for you. They might be able to see those errors that you may have overlooked. Thank you. So any other question? So kindly fill in the link, the forms that are shared. If you want to join the Africana Journal Club, share the link. Also make sure you fill in the details. There's a feedback form that has been shared. Also, Dennis, I'll get back to you. Once I'll share with you that. Any other question? Anybody else with a question or a comment? So I think we are good to go. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your participation. I hope we've gained a lot. So we'll meet again. Thank you. Have a good evening. And we see each other in 3 weeks' time to review an article. Thank you.